Please join in our responsive reading. Your response is, we open our hearts with love. When the world's violence shatters the joy of a moment, we pause and reach out for the hands that remain. We open our hearts with love. When despair rises as a monster from the deep and drags down one of our own, our answer is that. We open our hearts to love. When hatred and anger rage in fire and suffering, we bend to pick up the wounded, to bind up ourselves and when fear whispers, build more gates, add more locks, the blessed are those who defend themselves. We rock those fears to sleep and let them rest as we open our hearts with love. People will do unspeakably cruel and horrible things. We know this fact. We live and die this daily, all around the world, in every community, in every wasteland. But we know the answer is found only with one action, and so we open our hearts to love. Hatred never ceases by hatred, but the love alone can be healed. This is the truth we affirm. We live with courage and with a wider and wider circle of that force that bends our lives to ones of mercy, justice, and compassion. It's the truth. Just by being born, you are loved. There is something within you and every person that can be loved. We open our hearts with love. In love, we pray for those families, those individuals, all the persons here and everywhere who are desperately sure that there is not enough love in the world for them to have some, who are desperately sure that they do not matter. In love with life, in love with the beloved, we turn to answers that desperation with assurance, you are loved, you are lovable, we will and do love you. Now attend to all your life's work to love. It's the only legacy that matters. Living by love. In the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians, we're told that love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious, boastful, or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. We currently live in times that challenge us not to love. The social and political atmosphere in which we travel continuously tempts us to place blame, point fingers, and find fault, increasing that which can tear us apart. And yet, often imperfectly, we practice a faith because, after all, we are human. We continue practicing the faith where we are called to answer the question, what is the most loving thing I can do? Both Judaic and Christian traditions tell us that humans are made in the image of God. And if that is so, it is the capacity to love intentionally that makes humans God-like. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of bhakti, or non-egoistic devotion, and from the Christian perspective, the usage of the word love speaks of agape love, which, when generally expanded upon, denotes the same brotherly and sisterly love as in all other religious traditions. It's the expression of love for a spouse or children, and the love for the all-pervading mystery that some call God. However, over the years, the Christian right has narrowed its focus to a single-minded obsession of salvation. But without hesitation, when Jesus was asked about the greatest commandment, he answered, love your God with all your heart, and might, and love your neighbor as yourself. In the Buddhist tradition, there is the focus of the deepening of awareness to discover the feelings of compassion. The center of our being is towards the propensity to love, because it is the natural alignment within the universal flow. Love and fear are the only real emotions that correspond with the two metaphysicals of expansion and contraction, like breathing in and breathing out. In fear, we withdraw and contract, causing separation. But in love, we reach out, expanding to relate. We cannot operate in both love and fear at the same time. Fear pulls us out of the natural flow, away from our center. Often there's no rational explanation for being drawn or linked to another, but we open ourselves to the intuitive feeling that allows us to meet each other heart to heart with a common desire, bringing us together as companions on life's path. In the late 18th and early 19th century in New England, Universalists preached that the nature of God is love. This threatened the evangelical and Calvinist groups as heresy, so much so that they vehemently opposed it and denied Universalist preachers in their pulpits and to positions of public power. This love, embedded in the fabric of the universe, was strong, nurturing, and inclusive. It would not let go of anyone ever. Grounded in this love, Universalists rejected any idea of an afterlife that ultimately separated humankind into the saved and the damned. They rejected the violence and cruelty inherent in traditional notions of atonement, which understood God as having ordained Jesus to suffer and die on behalf of humanity. Instead, with salvation as a given, the locus of religiosity became this world rather than the next among these people. The Universalists focus on the process of living as one, of coming into greater alignment with love as a response to the unshakable foundation of knowing one was already completely held in love. However, love does not just happen. We are not puppets on the strings of a deity called love. We are not automatic lovers of self, others, or God. Love is a choice, not necessarily a rational choice, but rather a willingness to be present to others without pretense or guile. Love is a conversion to humanity. It's a willingness to participate with others in the healing of a broken world and broken lives. Love is the choice to experience life as a member of the human family, rather than as an alien in the world or as a deity above the world, aloof and apart from human flesh. In The Wisdom of Love, Jacob Needleman tells us that when we remain in love, we touch moments of pure presence. You never know when the moment or decision will come. Perhaps it is on the playground at school, when you see the class bully picking on a new victim, or standing in the check line at the grocery store behind a young mother who's at her wit's end with a screaming child. Perhaps it's at a staff meeting at work when you pledge to take some unpaid leave days could help save a coworker's job. Such moments come in different ways to each of us, but they do come, reminding us that the decisions we make in our day-to-day lives do make a difference. Pointing out the ongoing choices we make between standing uncomfortably on the sidelines of our messy world and acting deliberately in small but concrete ways to help create a kinder, more compassionate reality. They return us to the powerful truth that in critical times, it is possible to live by love. And in the mystic words, to help its mighty power to surge upward and surmount every obstacle by defending, supporting, and advocating for each other as if we all were equals in our humanity. But then we have to question, if we fallible human beings are really that powerful, why isn't the world a better place already? Don't most of us already think of ourselves as siding with love? Or at least as much love as we can manage, given that we are imperfect? Well, I see it as a spiritual paradox. It is precisely because we live in a world which knows the evils of envy, greed, violence, and the seas of human indifference that we understand how sacred it is when our acts of love and compassion actually triumph. Moreover, because we live in a world which knows such triumphs, we cannot fully give up hope in our imperfect humanity, never turning anyone in need away from our door. In the wisdom of love, Jacob Needleman tells us that when we remain in love, we touch pure presence. I call that presence the spark of divinity that connects us to our highest consciousness, residing within our core, our center. Needleman also informs that through drawing us towards the source of the universe itself, this energy draws all conscious beings towards one another. And each time we return to our center, we reconnect to the source. In today's world, I appreciate our Unitarian Universalist Association's invitation to siding with love, because it invites love as an active force in our lives. So much of our understanding of love can be passive because we talk of falling in love or of being helplessly in love, or we assume love's automatic presence in a family or a home or a community, and then we're shocked to learn otherwise. But I do believe that love is more than merely a power that claims us. It is also a power that we claim by choosing our response to the truths of this world. Love, like hate, is a choice. Whether we are at the bedside of a dying loved one or at the side of a stranger we have only just met. The love which inspires the courage and commitment of such choices is not a sweet or sentimental kind of love. Rather, it is a love which recognizes the greater good and the bonds of kinship of which we are a part. However, once we accept love as a choice, then we must also come to terms with where that choice leads us. This was the profound and radical insight of our Universalist forebears, that if love comes from God, then there can be no exceptions. Love cannot be just for one or for some of us. If it is for any of us, it must be for all of us. Love cannot be just for those with loud voices, but also for the voiceless. Love cannot be just for those with power, but also for those who are marginalized. Love cannot be just for those who still hope, but also for those who despair, that help and hope will ever come. Love cannot be for your political party. It must be for the other party as well. So, Take a moment to reflect on this particular time in your own life, in the lives of your family and friends, and in the state of our community and our world. Who needs us to side with them in love? What moral questions does our commitment to love call us to address in this coming year? I don't have the answers, nor are the choices only mine to make. But I raise these questions as a beginning to a conversation. To you, as individual people who care about this world and as a community of faith and hope. You might begin reflecting on the opportunities to stand for love and question, why does it have to be a side? Must there always be a side? The last thing the world needs is more division. But in every moment, I really believe that life has given us an invitation to do the things that are the most loving and life-affirming, and that doing the loving and life-affirming thing is always the answer when or if you're feeling unsure. There's always a moment of invitation to rethink or reevaluate. We're being invited into this cosmic dance of renewal and joy and justice. But you have to make it so. It doesn't just show up without our participation or our effort. We all have to engage in answering and saying yes to love from wherever we are. And each moment presents an invitation for us to do that. One answer might be that the call to siding with love is made in the spirit of inclusion. But I also think that we are being invited to occupy a new place or a new side of understanding what it means to live in love spiritually. Because love is a choice. It is a deep, life-changing passion, not just for our hearts, but also for our spirits. From my